Hi, my name is Jason, and I'm going to show you how to kind of build a pretty charcuterie board. So if you're ever entertaining, or you can go anywhere and get nice piece of prosciutto, salami, these great cheeses. They're all so abundant, but I think that sometimes the art of putting it together, less is more kind of a thing. So I just kind of want to give you an idea of how I put it together, so that maybe you can do the same thing. So to start with, I think variety is super important, especially with your cheeses. So I've got a cow's milk, a goat's milk, and a blue cheese. The blue cheese is also a cow's milk, but that's in its own different variety. So the goat's cheese, they've got all kinds of different flavors. I've got just a plain goat cheese. There's a blueberry goat cheese I've seen that's terrific. The cow's milk cheese that I'm using is a triple cream brie, which just means there's so much more milk fat in it. When you go to cut into it, it's just this beautiful, rich, kind of coating your mouth with cheesy goodness kind of a cheese. And then I've got prosciutto, and I've got two different kinds of salami. One is a spicy salami, and then one is a peppered salami. So I've got my wooden board here. You can use anything that you have. You can use, in the past, I've used a cutting board, a wooden cutting board. Anything that looks kind of nice, a little bit rustic, whatever vibe you're going for, go with that. So to begin, I'm gonna place my cheeses because I like to place those first. I'll place one sort of at the corner like that. Take my goat cheese, and I can take the whole log. You don't have to put all of it on, but this is a smaller log of goat cheese. And then maybe put that in the center, because I think that's kind of an easy spreadable cheese. And then this is a pretty big piece of blue cheese. You could pretty easily cut this in half and still have, I think, a good amount. If you wanted to put it up like that, you could. I think because I've got kind of height and height and height, I like kind of a little bit more congruity, so I'm gonna do that. So temporarily, I've got my cheeses at the corners and in the center. As I go to put my other items on the board, I can always move this, but I think this is kind of a good plan of attack. Next up would be prosciutto. Prosciutto is smoked ham from Italy. So it's not the easiest thing to work with, but because it's so thin like this, you can set it down and almost get like a little bit of a rose look to it. So where you've got the petals of it. And so you can get nice height on prosciutto. I think one of the difficulties of a meat and cheese board is that everything kind of looks boring and flat. So to get a little bit of height, to get a little bit of something that gives it an eye appeal, and you can kind of pull where you want people to look at it, so much the better. So I think a little piece of prosciutto over here, we'll maybe do one more. And again, we're not trying to overload this. This doesn't need to be dinner for 4 people. This is just a couple of bites of something good. So we're gonna stop with the prosciutto at the moment. So we'll take some of our salami that we have here. This is our spicy salami, flat piece. I'd like to maybe fold it over a little, something like that. You can put it onto the board. Salami has enough fat that a little bit of it will kind of stick to itself. So as you kind of make these little half heart, I guess you could say, you can sort of start stacking those. It's a nice way for people to be able to grab one piece, but again, you're looking for a little bit of height, a little bit of interest, a little bit of something on the board that draws an attention, draws an eye to it. So we'll start there. And then we've got my peppered salami, which is a little bit more mild, but you can see sort of the ring of pepper that's on there. So we'll do that. And this is just, because this is a circle, you just put that down if you want, and kind of build it out that way, at least initially. You can kind of overlap it a little bit, kind of give some, you might say, motion to it, as weird as that is. But just like if you're building a charcuterie plate, it's just kind of like, it's the same principle that would apply to building a buffet or anything else where people are gonna kind of come grazing. You wanna give them a direction. You wanna give them sort of a start and a finish point. And as you start to build things, you'll see where your start and where your finish is. So for me, I think it would be sort of at the start of this prosciutto here, go build it left to right, and I'll get a closer up picture of it for you in a minute. But I think this is probably a good amount of this particular salami. And then I've got 2 empty spaces. And with those 2 empty spaces, I've got this fig jam. So I would put the fig jam right here. You take the lid off. Put the fig jam right there. And then I've got these grapes. This is like out of a painting, this perfect little set of grapes. And if you wanted to, and again, see, I get some nice height just on the grapes itself. So if you wanted to, that could be your entire charcuterie board. This is probably a good start for somewhere in the realm of 4 people. If you had more people, you want to do a bigger board, you could. You can fill this in more, you can put more salami, more cheese, more whatever you want. But at least to begin, this is kind of a way of letting your guests get a bite, get a couple of bites, and still have plenty of room for dinner. And as the host, there'll be leftover cheese, and you can have that tomorrow, which is nice. The only other thing that's not on this board is crostini. I'm not a fan of putting the crostini on the board itself. If you have a nice small plate or something that's sort of oblong or elongated, you could put it in that. And that way you get some crostini, you put some fig jam on it, some blue cheese and prosciutto. What's better than that? So that is a very simple sort of starter charcuterie plate. I hope that you enjoy entertaining your guests when you use it. Thanks for watching.